Hey, what's up everyone? How's it going? In today's video, I got a piece of gear that I'm really excited about. It's gonna help me make my videos oh so tasty. All right, to give you guys just a little rundown on how I make these videos, I first decide on a camera angle. Then I set up my tripod and get it to the right height. Then I turn my camera on, which mine already is, and I figure out where I will be in the frame, probably right around there. But I gotta make sure everything is all set and ready to go. Then I place something in the frame close to where I'm going to be at, grab focus, and then press record. Then I jump into frame, say what I'm gonna say, the 3 sentences that usually take me about an hour to get right, and change camera angles and repeat the whole process over again. What I have here today, just something that's gonna make this whole rigmarole much easier. It's the Crane M2 gimbal from Zhiyun. The Crane M2 is a lightweight gimbal for smaller cameras or GoPro size cameras. You can use it with the popular vlogging cameras like the Canon M50 or the smaller Sony size cameras. Even the X-T3 works on it, although not 100%, but I'll get to that in just a bit. It's perfect for, of course, your mobile phone and for action cameras like my new GoPro Hero 7 here. The Crane M2 is an all-in-one design for compact cameras, light mirrorless cameras, and smartphones and action cams. It has a ton of modes for different camera movements and controls. It offers wireless and Bluetooth control over a lot of different cameras, and also comes with a ZY Play app, which adds a bunch more features like time lapses and slow motion. Plus, it has a huge 7-hour battery life. All in all, a very user-friendly gimbal to add to your filmmaking kit. Now, I have 2 big reasons for wanting a gimbal, and Zhiyun was nice enough to send me over the new Crane M2 for review, so I'm really happy about that because one of the main reasons is to help me to create the videos here in my studio. The second reason that I really wanted a gimbal, and this is the main reason for me, is that I really wanted something lightweight that I could take with me while I go hiking and camping and off-roading, because I just got a new member to my family right over there. And I'm really excited about that, but more on that in the future. For now, let's hop back into the studio. Now, to balance my X-T3 or any camera for that matter on any gimbal, including the Crane M2, can be a little bit tricky. It takes a couple of minutes of messing around with it to get it just right and ready to shoot. So let me run through those steps real quick with you on how to balance your Crane M2. Okay, so the first things first is you want to make sure that you have the lens that you want to use, you have your battery and your card inside your camera, because all of that stuff affects the balance. Now, inside the box here we have your Crane M2 gimbal, we have the feet, we have the phone accessory, and we have the base plate, which will be attaching to our camera. Now, it comes with 2 slots, one for smaller cameras, one for larger cameras, and you want to make sure that you have the flat edge pointed towards the lens. Now, I'll just place that on here because I'm using a larger camera. I'll use the larger slot there, and I'll just screw that in. Now, I'm not going to get it all the way tight because we're going to be changing that in just a second when we balance our gimbal. Now, the next step that I like to do is place the feet or the tripod feet on the gimbal there. That way we just have it something to rest on while we balance our camera. So once that's all done, we are ready to move on to the next step. Now, the Crane M2 has locking pins, so the arms don't go flying about when you're not using it. So to undo those, you simply twist this red lever, pull this up, and then unfold the arms. Now you can untighten this black lever here at the base and slide out this arm as well. You can take your base plate in the camera and now slide it into the slot here and let the balancing begin. But before I do that, I want to talk to you about a really cool feature that the Crane M2 has. Now, it's what Zhiyun is calling the memory lock, and it's this little latch over here on the long arm towards the back of the gimbal. Now, what this allows you to do is when you have your camera balanced, you can slide this over using the scales and then lock that in. So the next time when you take your camera off and you go to place it back on and balance it again, you have that position saved, and it just makes your life so much easier. However, because my X-T3 is just a tad bit too big for the Crane M2, I've gone ahead and removed that memory lock there so I can slide this long arm out as past the scales as far as possible so it can balance the camera. But it's just a little tip there for those of you who have bigger cameras like I do. You can remove this and it's quite easy to do, so you can take it off and put it back on when you need it. Then I'll just start sliding this large arm over and kind of holding the camera and letting go with each move to test it out. And I think that's probably about good, maybe just a little bit more. And there we go. Now this right arm here that's holding the base plate, I don't want it at its lowest position because with the X-T3 that causes it to hit this back motor on the gimbal. So I'm gonna push it up just about, I don't know, about a centimeter up past its lowest position and then lock that down, and now it swings freely top to bottom. Now to balance it up and down, I'm just gonna unscrew the base plate here a little bit and slide the camera back and forth until it reaches level. Right about there, now we're balanced and ready to rock and roll. I had a couple of client recipe videos that I was shooting over the last couple of weeks, and I was lucky enough to wrangle in an assistant to help me out, which gave me the perfect opportunity to test out the new Crane M2. Its lightweight design allowed me to easily move it about the table to capture motion in a way that I just really didn't have the ability to do before. And I could hold it all day without my arm getting tired. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it took a little getting used to get that, perfect movement just right. But after a few rehearsals of the movement and timing, I was able to create these small fluid movements that I could use to speed up or slow down pretty easily and add that bit of creativity during editing. I know a lot of you guys are probably not creating the type of YouTube videos that I am, but you might be doing how-to videos or recipe videos for your blog, for Instagram, stuff like that, or maybe you're even vlogging and doing that kind of camera work. So I'm sure you guys can relate to the time-consuming, laborious task of putting up and taking down tripods, moving camera angles, and all of that stuff. So, being able to grab this and just whip it around and use it as a second camera angle or to vlog with is just gonna be a huge help in the kind of videos that I create. Now, I'll probably still lock my camera down on a tripod for a lot of my shots, but using the gimbal for a second camera angle or to quickly show you a POV of what I'm composing on the table or to show you, something like on the light here and doing that kind of stuff, and then to be able to whip it around and talk to you guys without having to pause, break things down, and set everything up again is gonna be fantastic. Hey guys, real quick, in case you haven't heard, the largest online photography event of the year is happening right now as we speak. You can save yourself thousands of dollars on courses, presets, ebooks, software, all sorts of photography goodness from a lot of big name photographers. I'm not gonna name who. Go check out for yourself. In the link in the description below, you can get yourself a 96% discount on the whole bundle and pick it up for $89. But it's only gonna last 5 days, so you gotta go get it now. I thought you might wanna know. The Crane M2 just has a ton of incredible features packed into this little guy, so let me quickly run through all the different shooting modes so you can see what this gimbal can do. All right, we can start off with the pen follow mode, which basically just follows the movement of the gimbal. So whatever the gimbal is pointing, the camera will just slowly and steadily move in that direction. Then I can click once on the mode button and get to the lock mode, which locks the camera in one position, and the camera will always stay centered no matter what I do with the gimbal. One more click over on the mode button and we get the POV mode, allowing me to do some crazy camera movements. I can rotate it 360 degrees or maybe do a fast flip up to my subject. The smaller cameras work best if you're using this mode, and I've noticed that my X-T3 is just a little bit too big and too heavy for the full range that this POV mode allows. Now, if you double tap on the mode button, it enters into the go mode, which fully follows or quickly swivels the camera with the gimbal movement, in case you need to keep that gimbal ready for some fast moving action. On the back here we have a trigger, and pressing the trigger once enters the full follow mode. This mode is kind of an in-between stage between the pen follow and the go mode. Now pressing the trigger once more goes back to the previous mode, and if the camera for some reason is at an odd angle, then you can double tap the trigger and it will return to level. And if you triple tap on the trigger, it goes to selfie mode, and you can use the joystick then to move the camera up and down, and then you can hold the trigger to roll the camera left and right so you can nail that perfect composition when you're vlogging. One of the biggest downsides that I've found with the Crane M2 is it's not really a problem with the gimbal, it's more of what I'm trying to do with it. I'm trying to attach a Fujifilm camera, the X-T3, with a lens, and that kind of exceeds the weight limit for the gimbal. Now the Crane M2 is rated for cameras and lens packages that are around 550 to 600 grams at the maximum, and the Fujifilm here with the lens weighs about 700 to 850 depending on what lens I'm putting on the camera. So it kind of exceeds the weight limit technically. But it works perfectly 99% of the time. I mean, I can film myself, I can move the camera side to side, up and down, and it's really smooth and you get a great shot. But when you try to do some other things, like say get a POV above the table and then say move the camera side to side, it sometimes sets off this warning and it starts beeping at you, the camera goes all wonky, and you kind of have to set it down and wait for it to reset. But once it does that, then you're back to normal and you're back to shooting. It goes side to side, up and down, you can film yourself. Now I know that it must be something to do with the weight of the camera, because this doesn't happen when I'm using the GoPro or if I'm using a smaller camera or my smartphone. It works perfectly with those cameras and you can do all that articulation and no warning symbols come up. But with the X-T3, it happens every once in a while. Now, I wish that Zhiyun would have made the Crane M2 handle cameras or the weight of cameras, say, at 1,000 grams. That way it can encompass the X-T3 and every camera that's kind of similar in weight to the X-T3 and everything down below that. If they could do that and still keep this amazing single-handed handheld form factor, that would be fantastic. I don't know if that's possible. The Crane M2 has another really cool feature. However, I can't be using it with my X-T3 because of the same weight issue, and that's the Vortex Mode. If you press twice on the mode button and then twice more, you go into the Vortex Mode and it allows you to spin the camera 360 degrees, which is really something cool. I don't know if I'll be using it for recipe videos, but I definitely would use it for something like a travel vlog or, just any kind of out and about shooting where you want a really cool transition. All right, so I'm filming in selfie mode here on my little hike, and I love just how lightweight this gimbal is. I can hold it and my X-T3 and my lav mic, and it doesn't feel like my arm's getting tired. I mean, the gimbal doesn't feel cheap either. And speaking about my lav mic, I love that it has a 1/4-inch thread, so I could whip on a magic arm and attach my lav mic or even maybe my smartphone and use that as a second monitor. The joystick and the trigger on the gimbal are really nice too. They're really intuitive for moving the camera. You can move the camera down or up, and then you can hold the trigger and rotate the joystick to move it left and right to really nail in that composition. Whew. All right. Well, I've been looking for a gimbal for vlogging mainly, and to take with me while I go hiking and camping and four-wheel driving, something lightweight that it's easy to pack with me and could go everywhere I go. I mean, I could have chose a bigger gimbal, and I've seen them and they look pretty great. It would be nice to have something larger that could hold my Canon cameras and big lenses, or this camera and adapt some big lenses to it, but I got a ton of gear that I gotta pack with me everywhere I go for shoots. You should see the amount of gear that I have to pack into my car. It's ridiculous. So I love the fact that this is tiny, it's small, it's handheld, and I could just throw it in a box and go. And that is it for this video. Be sure to check out the Crane M2. The link is in the description below. It's a really fantastic gimbal. And hey, while you're there, be sure to grab up that really amazing photography bundle for 96% off. It's an amazing deal. You don't want to miss this one. It's only 5 days, so you got to grab it up quick. Loads of great courses and ebooks and tons of stuff to really improve your photography. But hey, if you're new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, give it a like, some thumbs up if you like the video, and drop some comments down below. I always love hearing from you guys. But as always, I'll see you in the next one.